Hello and welcome to EV Review Ireland. My name is Reilly. Today we're going to be looking at the Hyundai IONIQ 5, so let's get started.
Today's video is sponsored by EasyGo. As well as being Ireland's largest EV charging network, EasyGo supports over 10,000 Irish EV drivers to find and use more than 1,200 charge points active on the EasyGo app. This works across the island of Ireland, north and south. The team at EasyGo also provide home, workplace and public chargers together with fleet management and payment service solutions, ideal for businesses transitioning their fleets to electric vehicle driving.
Starting off at the front, as we always do, moving around the side, and then we'll go to the rear and the boot, and then we'll go inside and we'll take it out for a spin. So working from the top down, you can see you've got your rain sensors, light sensors, active lane keep, etc. All the LiDAR units up at the very front. This is the first time that Hyundai have a full width clamshell bonnet, so there's no gaps or no grooves between it. There is some creases. Big Hyundai logo at the front of it. Moving down, then you've got that glass panel across the front, and you've got your 256 pixelated lights. Underneath that, then you've got in daylight it just looks like a normal silver piece of trim, but there's actually LEDs in underneath that as well, so at night time it's a real distinctive light signature. Then obviously you've got the body colour below that, and you've got your active air vents down here. Battery does need to have a bit of cooling going on in it. Overall, really nice front on it, very distinctive, nothing else like it on the road. Let me know in the comments what you think of it. Another thing that some of the competitors like the ID4 don't have on the Hyundai IONIQ 5 is underneath the bonnet you have your Frunk in here as well. Perfect for charging cables, whatever you want to put into it. But it's great that Hyundai have utilised that. Depending on whether you go for the all-wheel drive or the two-wheel drive will dictate how big that is. And I'll stick it on the screen as to the literage that you're going to get. But great to have it. Some people don't like Frunks because when you are taking the charging cables out or in, sometimes people look as if there's something wrong with the cars, why the bonnet is up, but that's all changing now with electric vehicles. So great to see they're utilising the space. Let's move around the side. Moving down along the side, you have that dynamic wheel arch going on, so it's moving without moving with those really nice design features. You've got 19 and 20 inch wheels depending on what model you go for. You've got the side of that clamshell coming down. Then depending on the trim, whether it's silver or black, again, whether it's the executive or the premium, you've got the retractable wing mirrors with the indicators built into it, and you have these body colour flush door handles that retract once you close it and once you lock it as well. Privacy glass in the back of this one. You've got your gloss black around with regards to your B pillar, and then your C pillars at a 45-degree angle, and your charging port is back here then as well. And you can see the state of charge visibly with the pixelators, and the pixels thing going through the whole, close. So rather than forcing it down. Really nice stance on the road, great design language. Really look forward to seeing more of them out there. Moving around the back, you have the shark fin area on the roof. You've got the spoiler that's on all models with that high level LED brake light, and you have that active aerodynamics built into it as well. Large rear windscreen but without a window wiper, your Hyundai badge, your IONIQ lettering it's actually on the outside. Some people thought it was on the inside, with your pixelated reversing indicator, brake lights, etc. Moving down, you've got a lot of gloss black obviously on this model. You've got your silver trim, which is on depending on the model that you go for, there's the premium and the executive, so that you can dictate it from the road. Reversing camera, reversing sensors, and you have your reflectors, etc. all the way along the back. I like all sides of this car actually. I think it's nicely designed. Very deceiving until you see it in person as to the size of it. This version is the premium version, and the one that I have is 44,000 odd, and it doesn't have an electronic tailgate. So button is down here, and that lifts all the way up. And so we'll have a look in the boot here now. You've got your retractable parcel shelf on the top. This boot has 531 litres, and if you drop down the seats it brings it to 1,591. Flat floor, lots of space as you can see there, and then you also have a kind of a subfloor underneath there as well, and you can put your charging cables, etc. in it. So great size boot, and it's flat all the way through, and those seats fold down as well. You've got very little in the back here with regards to shopping bag hooks, etc., because it's so shallow. But you do have some tie-off points on the bottom corners, but otherwise there's not much else going on back here. You've got one light on the right hand side as well. What's it like inside the Hyundai IONIQ 5? So this interior is kind of a whitey creamy leather. I wonder how easy it would be to keep, but beautifully constructed, gorgeous design, good thick chunky doors. You've got the handle there. A lot about sustainability in this car. 35 plastic bottles were using the fabric, plant-based dyes in the paints, corn used in some of the headliners, etc. So on the door itself, you have your retractable wing mirrors, you have your left-right adjustments for those, you have your center locking, and you have your front and rear, 4 buttons, Volkswagen, not 2, and you also have your window lock. Big size door bin, and then on the door itself you've got a mixture of fabrics. You've got fabric on the door, you've got full leather, then you have, more of a washed leather effect, and you've got the pixelated design on the door frame itself, and then as I said, you've got a great size door bin. Good size, good thunk. Interestingly enough, in this car you don't have a Hyundai badge. On the steering wheel you've got just 4 pixels, and obviously pixels are a huge part of the design language. 2-spoke steering wheel. On the left hand side you have your phone, voice, lots of bings and bongs. The door is open. And on the right hand side then you've got your cruise control. Behind that then you've got your paddles for your regenerative braking. On the left hand side you have your light stalk, good big thick chunky stalks. On the right hand side you've got your wipers. Underneath that then at my right knee is the drive mode selector, park, neutral, reverse, etc. And then on the steering wheel itself it's the actual drive modes. So you've got the different, you just press the button, eco, normal and sport. And then if you hold it down you also have snow. So depending on what you're looking for. Behind that then you have, on the right hand side you've got a little fabric covered magnetic area for putting mementos and pictures on it. Then you've got 2 12.25-inch screens. The one behind the driver is your instrument cluster, and then the one behind the passenger, the one in the center of the infotainment is touch screen. Nice clean design, kind of sitting in somewhere between a Volkswagen ID4, Skoda Enyaq. There are some physical buttons in here. The only bit of gloss black in the car is actually along this strip, which is the aircon and the start-stop button. And on the right-hand side, you've got your handbrake and your automatic hold feature as well. At my right knee, you've got your cruise stability control off, and then your headlight level adjuster. Underneath that then you've got your handbrake and your auto hold. Moving across then you've got your climate, you've got your parking sensors, parking cameras, radio tuning up or down. Then you've got your media button, your navigation button. So you've got your shortcut buttons to get to where you need to go on the main screen. So media, you can shortcut as well there. And then on the screen itself, you've got lots of different menu options there. Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. You've got your vents, 4, 2 in front, in the middle, 1 either side. And then above that then, so the dash itself is fairly short. It's a huge expanse of a floor pan between the wheels, and that's also a flat floor. Talking point a lot of people are focusing on obviously is this movable center console. But before we get to that, you've got a 12 volt with a USB type A, and you've got a little deep pocket in there, so if you're plugging in your phone, you can plug it in there and it won't be affected by anything, or you can plug it into the center console that you can move forward and back. You've got your 2 cup holders, you've got 2 USB type A's, and you've got wireless Qi charging in this one as well. Massive bin underneath it with the armrest moved up, and then in the armrest you've got some more, you've got this design language of these stripes on the pads in the bottom floor in the armrest, but you also see it around other places as well, around the actual cabin, which is a nice design that they brought all the way through it as well. Seats are super comfortable, really bolster supporting on the side, fully electric, and then they go all the way back, which is again another feature that a lot of people, so I think they're calling them zero gravity seats. So that zips all the way back. I think you understand what it means when the seat goes all the way back. Great sun here this evening. Up on top then you've got your SOS, you've got your cabin lights, etc. And you have your sun visors, obviously, with your lights on it as well. So don't think there's going to be any problem with this one with regards to space in the back. Last thing I want to talk about in the front is this really cool slide out glove box. Otherwise, quality of materials, quality of finish. When I saw this initially in the press release, I didn't like it. I'm definitely a fan of it. I felt that the screens were too much, there was too much of a bezel on the screens. I felt that the bright colours, just in this model, wouldn't be very hard wearing, but beautiful in real life. And this sliding center console, whether you wanted to go all the way back to have that easy access to get out, or want to bring it all the way forward so that your passengers have more space in the back. So let's have a seat in the back and let's see what the space is like. I've set the seat for myself. Let's go into the back. In the back, and this seat is set right back for me. There's about 20-25 millimeters between me, and I'm 187 centimeters, 6'2". Good headroom. There isn't a sunroof in this version. You can get a solar powered roof in some markets, but not in the Irish market. On the door, you've got your handle, you've got your speaker, you've got a good sized doorbell, and you've got that, on that door you have that pixel design. The air vent isn't in the center console, it's actually in the B pillar of the car, which is great. And the unusual thing about this as well is these seats move forward and back. So if you want both sides, so the 60-40 split, so this one will bring all the way forward. So if you want more space in the boot, on that central console, you have 2 USB Type A's as well. So there's 2 there, 2 in the front of it, and one up the very front, and wireless charging. So they're not lacking with regards to charging options. You've got your mesh net in the back. These seats are really, really nice from behind, never mind from the front, with those armrests. You've got your central console, central armrest with your 2 cup holders as well. You have 2 ISOFIX fittings in the back. You don't have it in the front. And you don't have access through to the boot either on a ski hatch. But beautifully finished, lovely flat floor all the way through. Let's take it out for a spin.
If you think this car is for you, you can contact EasyGo and register for the app by clicking the link on the screen or in the description.
Just before I take it for a drive, I've got a couple of notes I want to run through with regards to some of the finer details on it. So prices for the Hyundai IONIQ 5 in Ireland start at 37,995 and go all the way up to 64,995, and that is for the top level trim with the biggest battery, and that's all-wheel drive as well. So there's 7 different variations you can get, 4 different trim levels. And how could there be 4 different trim levels, 7 different variations? There's 2 battery types, and then there's an all-wheel drive version as well. So if you go to the website, you'll be able to see it. So the 2 battery types are 58 kilowatt hours and 72.6 kilowatt hours. They're both usable. You get black side mouldings, and I talked about that already, on the executive trims, and chrome side mouldings on the premium trims. So the size is between a Tucson and a Santa Fe, if you're thinking in a Hyundai language. It's longer and lower than the ID4. It has a longer wheelbase than the Tesla Model Y, and it's longer than the Volvo XC40. So as much as people think it's a hatchback, or it looks like a hatchback because it has that shape, it's a big car, so don't let that, and hopefully by me standing beside it and walking around it. It's built on the eGMP platform, which is their global modular platform for the Hyundai group. So that'll be the same as Kia, that'll be the same that's going to be used in the Genesis platform as well. And it uses an 800 volt system. And what that means, it's just able to charge faster. It has a 5-year unlimited mileage warranty. And for the battery itself, it has an 8-year, 160,000 warranty. Some of the styling features I really like that Zorro Z on the side of the actual car as well. We talked about some of the solar panels. It comes in 9 different colours, and 2 of those colours are matte. So everything from white, black, silver, grey, but some lovely greens in there as well. All very natural colours, so it's lovely to see. And then they have those matching interiors in it as well. As much as these seats go back, these aren't actually the relaxation seats. They're the ones, they're going to be on the Premium Plus model. And also on the Executive Plus, you're going to have that electric sliding rear bench, whereas it's a manual sliding rear bench in this one. Speed, it gets to 0 to 100 in 5.2 seconds, all-wheel drive, a long-range battery. And that long-range battery has a WLTP of 481. And the shorter one, I think, is 360 or 375 real world. You're probably with Hyundai, they've always been fairly decent in the past with regards to their real world range. Motors, so you get there's a couple of different variations. So on the 58 kilowatt hour battery, on the 2-wheel version of that, it is a 125 kilowatt motor. which is 170 PS, 350 Newton meters of torque. And then on the all-wheel drive version, it's 173 kilowatt hour between the two motors. It's 173 kilowatt motor between the two of power. That's 233 PS and 605 Newton meters of torque. So my goodness, very torquey. And then in the larger battery, or the long range battery as they're calling it, it's a 72.6 kilowatt hour battery. The two-wheel drive version has a 160 kilowatt motor, and that equals 217 PS, 350 Newton meters of torque. And then on the all-wheel drive version of the long range battery, that has a combined between the motors of 225, again 305 PS and 605 Newton meters. 100 kilometers of range in 5 minutes if you're on a super fast charger, and it supports up to 220 kilowatts on DC fast charging. So on a 18 minutes it'll take you to go from 10% to 80%. Has vehicle to load technology, and on the Premium Plus model underneath that electric sliding rear bench, you have a 3-pin plug and a 3.6 kilowatt. Some of the driver's assists, it has high beam assist, safe exit, so somebody in the back seat, if it knows that there's a car coming up, it'll lock the doors. Cross traffic, reverse assistant, pedestrian and cycling forward, collision assistant, lane keep, smart cruise with a stop-go feature, smart parking, intelligent speed limit navigation. Navigation, smart cruise control, it knows when there is a corner coming up and it'll start slowing you down, even if there's nothing in front of you, so it's not reliant on radar. And also driver assistant assist. So lots going on there, lots of the features, there's lots more on the website. Let me know in the comments what you like the most about the Hyundai IONIQ 5. What's it like driving the Hyundai IONIQ? It's a lovely, first of all, the seats are really, really good. The fly-by-wire gear change on the stalk is good and chunky. I thought it'd be a small bit low down, but actually my knee doesn't seem to go anywhere near it, which is great. When you pull away, you have the, I didn't know what it was at first, but it's actually the door handles closing flush, which was, I was like, what's that noise? Otherwise, it is well weighted. The 2-spoke steering wheel is gorgeous, and it's leather covered as well, and heated, I believe. But yeah, you've a lovely seating position. Blind spot is great on the wing mirrors as well. It's nicely concealed in. It's a little hazard triangle. The driver information is interesting and good, because on the right hand side you've got your speedo, on the left hand side you've got your speedometer, and on the right hand side it is the what range you've left and whether you're taking battery in or out. You've got your regenerative braking that we've talked about already. Really nice tactile pedals. Yeah. Different modes. The drive mode knob is actually a knurled knob, but you push a button. So Eco, Sport, and Normal, and then if you hold it down, as I mentioned, you have the option for snow as well, which is good to see. But overall, great visibility. You're not super high up because it is a low down electric vehicle, but plenty. Really good. Really good. Super quiet as well. So we're going to take it up the motorway on the M50 just to see what kind of sound we get out of it. With the charging on the IONIQ 5, it has 400 and 800 volts, so it knows what and optimizes to the best that it can with regards to charging as fast as it can. Satellite navigation is good, but it does take Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Things I don't like about it, it would be just this interior specifically, because it's bright. I think it'd be hard to keep, but I'm sure manufacturers and any light coloured interior, it's lovely and it's bright and airy, but I'm sure that they've worked out whether, and all the protection products that you can get out there as well. There's very little else I don't like about this car. I was talking to a friend of mine, Stephen Crawford, in Scotland last night, and we were chatting about the looks of it, and I think people that like the look of the Volkswagen Golf, that traditional hatchback look, will prefer this over the ID3. because it just looks more like a Golf traditionally, even though the design is out there and it's got the creases and it's got the pixelated lights, etc. It's shape-wise, it's still very much a Golf shape. So it's an interesting one. Prices are going to be, I've heard a lot of people complain that it's expensive. So the fact that the starting price is coming in under the current Hyundai Kona, you know, that kind of, in Ireland it's around 37,000, 38,000 if I recall correctly for the larger battery. So I appreciate this is a smaller battery at 58 kilowatt hours, but you're getting a much bigger car. So if you want to come in at the base level, absolutely, it is cheaper than the Hyundai Kona. But once you start speccing out all the bells and whistles and all the gadgets, you are going to be getting up. And then if you want the large battery, all-wheel drive, without any extras, and I don't know what extras you'd be putting onto it at 66,000 euros, it's going to be an interesting to see what level of Hyundai IONIQ 5 is actually going to be out there. There isn't a heads-up display on this version, but I have seen it in the promotional material. I think I've gotten over the heads-up display. Unless you're doing a lot of traveling to a lot of different places that you'd like that navigation in front of you. Otherwise, a lot of the instrument clusters, driver instrument panels have speed sign recognition, and then you can see what speed you're going at. So yeah, is it a fad? Will it always be there? I love this little magnetic area on the side. I think it's so cute, and I think it's very, it's just something different, and that definitely what they've done with this car is they've given you something different. Also, it has that auto hold feature here as well. Nice and torquey away from the lights. Other design features like that pull-out drawer, really nice. So they put a bit of thought into it. Lots of ambient light going on around the place, so inside the handles and also inside or around the speakers as well. I'm not sure if you're going to see a lot of these in the road, and it'd be a pity if we don't. There's a lot of ID4s, there's a lot of Skoda Enyaqs, but it's going up against the likes of the Tesla Model Y, but this, I presume, will be coming in a bit cheaper than the Tesla Model Y, even though it's bigger. But yeah, you're probably talking your direct competitor is going to be the ID4, and it's a different proposition in the sense of it's not as high, and it's but it is a bit longer. If you're thinking about buying an ID4, definitely have a spin in one of these. So with the regenerative braking, there are 3 levels of regen, and then there's the I pedal, which is I assume 1 pedal driving, and we're a big fan of that on this channel, and I know a lot of my viewers are as well. So yeah, it's good to see it on it. A couple of different ways you can support the channel. First off, if you just like the video, then if you leave a comment, if you haven't subscribed already, then there's a couple of ways you can support the channel financially. So you can do that via Patreon, by a monthly subscription. You can do that via PayPal for a once-off tip, and also there's a super thanks option now on each video, whereas if you really enjoyed the video, you can send me a tip and thank me for making it. So depending on how you want to support the channel, there's financial ways and there's ways not financially, but all of it helps, and I really do appreciate people that take the time to watch all the video, comment, like, all that kind of good stuff, and people that financially support the channel as well. So I really do appreciate it all. It helps, as it is a passion project for me. I'm one of the only independent EV-only channels in Ireland, so if you're passionate about the electric vehicle side of things, I'm looking for all the support that I can get. No rear wiper on the rear windscreen is a bit strange to me. I always like a rear wiper, if at all possible, and I thought that because it's so vertical it would do it, but they say you don't need it, and it was raining when I picked it up yesterday, and eventually the water droplets came off it. But I would love to have seen a wiper on it. But for aerodynamics, I assume it's not going to be, it's not going to happen now. So here we are on the M50 and 100 kilometers an hour. and I'm not having to shout. So yeah, good, great blind spot detection here. It shows you in front, but also has that identifier on the wing mirror as well. Hopefully you're enjoying the review. Make sure that you let me know in the comments what you think of the Hyundai IONIQ 5. Are you considering it, or what have you picked instead of it? With the adaptive cruise control, it has level 2 autonomous driving, so it's going to keep you in lane, and it's also going to track onto the vehicle in front of you. I remember seeing versions of this with electronic wing mirrors as well, and we haven't got those in Ireland, and when you indicated it would show up a little bubble on the screen in front of you so you could see in the blind spot as well, but it hasn't got that option here.
Just a reminder that today's video was sponsored by EasyGo, who are now offering a year's free driving when EasyGo installs a charger at your home or business. For more info or to submit for a quote, click the link on the screen or in the description.
That's my review of the Hyundai IONIQ 5. Unique, definitely something different on the roads, very different perspective. A lot of people, when they see pictures of it, think it looks like a hatchback, but it's a fairly big car. It's bigger than the ID4 and similar size to the Volkswagen or the Volvo XC40, etc. You are paying a premium, and I'm not sure if they've won over any fans with that. It has an entry-level price that's coming in at a reasonable amount, but then it starts moving very quickly up. Let me know in the comments what you think. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and if you think an EV is for you, leave it to me and I'll review. Thanks for watching.